again, one of those things is, again, especially when we get near the dog's physical limits, right? So this is a tough call in dog training. It's like, what is to do with form and things, and what is to do with this dog's ability to jump? Where's their physical limits? And when you get closer to those, you can get yourself in a hole. The dogs miss enough reps where they're now fatigued and they couldn't get over it even if they tried at that point. You know, they want to, they're trying, they're lifting their feet and those sorts of things. And you got to be careful to get out of that. So if I have 4, 5, 6 misses in a row, and I think the dog is close to their limit, then if I get a clean one, I'm out of there, right? Or I may have to drop it a little bit to get a clean one just to finish the session, right? And it's a conditioning thing as well, right? That if you're not, like with dogs, again, closer to their physical limits, they have to be in better shape for it too, right?
The other thing is his mental state is not correct. I can see it in his face.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about jumping, he's thinking about getting to me.
Right.
Because I can see the roundness in his eyes, and when I see that roundness, I know that he's not thinking about the task.
Like the thing is that though, when they're thinking about getting to you, like it's not like, hey, I'm in a hurry to get you there, and it was affecting his form. Like he's like, usually what happens is when the dogs do that, they're like, they're fast, they're flat, they're really crashing it badly. Like, I'm not even thinking about jumping, I'm running to you kind of thing. Yeah, but here, he, to me, looks like making a genuine effort. Like when he gets there, he's collecting and he's pushing to try to get up. A little of that stutter step stuff, it's not as smooth as we would like it to be, which tells me he's trying, right? When you see the dogs that are, if he's just on a beeline, he's just gonna go crash and get to you. But when the dogs go and they do that stutter and try to shove themselves up, then that's usually they're making an effort to get over the thing. And this part may not be right, and if he hit it a couple times and he was trying to get over it. Yeah. Sometimes on some of those, he's clipping it because his rear feet are hanging too low. He's not picking up his rear feet. And then on some of them, he clipped them because he jumped too early and was coming down on the backside and clipping them. So it's for sure reps at your distance and figure it out. And he gets more reps, he gets more confident. And it's conditioning, I think, right? Like again, he feels like he's struggling. Like he's a heavy-bodied dog, and not 3 anymore, right? So this is the stage with dogs when I talked about before, like good form is really important because when they hit 6, 7, 8 years old, they have little, like middle-aged athletes and stuff. You're a little stiff, you're a little sore, you don't recover so fast, the kind of cumulative stuff. And then those little errors start to magnify themselves, right? And he just feels in general, and I thought this the last time we jumped with him, he feels close to what he's capable of, right? And so when you play in that zone, then everything matters, right? So you're right, state of mind for jumping, staying in practice, physical conditioning, all that stuff is gonna have a play in it. Unlike, again, a 2-year-old dog or a 3-year-old dog who's like, oh, I did that wrong, but who cares? I'm just throwing myself over it easily. So, but it's one of those things you have to jump regularly, right?
So that's what I mean. So can we, in the next couple of weeks, do a lot.
And the temptation, and this is a judgment call, and it's always a difficult thing, but it's like, when do I go down in the jump and let the dog get success for conditioning and then go up, right? And this is a tough call, right? So with older dogs, I might do that some, but if you do too much of it, again, you pattern the amount of effort they have to put in. And they don't recognize the difference. So if I'm jumping at 0.8 meters and I go up to a meter, the jump basically looks relatively similar to them. And they put in the amount of effort they've been putting in, and suddenly they're crashing it because they're used to patterning that, right? It's funny, actually, when I was jumping Pi initially, I got up really high, really fast, and I would regularly jump him 1/10 of a meter over max for ring, so 1.3 meters, so way up here, right? No problem. And he'd clear the thing by a mile, like no problem. So flying over. I put a meter jump on, and he'd hit it. He'd be like, that's not even a jump. Hop, and he'd just tick it like he was like not trying. It didn't look like a jump. But when it was high, he said, oh shit, I gotta go for that, right? I gotta really put some effort in to get over that thing. And so they do pattern certain efforts as you go along. So if I'm doing something lower, but for conditioning, if you haven't been jumping your dog, sometimes it's necessary. There are muscles they're using jumping that they don't use in other places. And so you take the jump down, you get him fit, you move it up, you get him fit, and you go up to that. So you might jump him lower for a bit while you get him back in shape, but just don't get stuck there, right? Because you can give yourself trouble from getting stuck there, right? And some dogs respond better if you go higher than they need to jump, but he won't be able to, right? So like, for instance, we've had dogs that have flat jumping problems on the Schutzen jump at 1 meter, and we make them jump consistently 1.2 meters, and then they fly over the Schutzen jump. So they pattern a certain effort, and for a certain dog that works great, right? So Simba was that way when we were doing it. Like if you jumped him at 1 meter, it was like a missile, like low and barely clear it, frequently brush it. So we put up a ring sport jump at 1.2 and made him do everything over that, all his retrieves and everything consistently, until the point where there was no way he could jump flat on that, and he could see that he couldn't jump flat on it. So patterned the muscle memory, go back to 1 meter jump, and he jumped as high as he had been jumping. So he jumped this much over it because that's the effort that he just sort of put in without thinking about it. And certain dogs are thoughtful about their jumping, and certain dogs are really impulsive, especially when we add the drive-related part, right? So for Schutzen dogs, where we're going to be throwing a retrieve, and we've been making all this drive for retrieving, it's different, again, than like an AKC retriever or a ring sport retriever. We haven't made the dog try to go as fast as they can both directions and made all this drive for the dumbbell. Now I've got this, and I'm coming out here, and the dog is in a big-ass hurry to get that thing and get back to you, and dogs get tunnel vision a little bit. So the more muscle memory-related stuff you have on the jump with those dogs, the better off you are, right? So if I can get them thinking, I jump 1.1 meter, the 10th above, and they're consistently doing that, then they don't think when it's dropped down a little bit, they put in the same amount of effort they've had to put in. Right? But with Toby, we can't. So, but he seems out of shape jumping wise, right? He was trying hard.